Level 1. The Drifter. You arrive with a stomach that never feels full, a head that never feels safe. The road smell clings to you. Sweat, wet socks, old fear. The compound gates open like a mouth that has learned patience. Inside, the air is sweet on purpose. Soup, bread, soap, warmth that feels illegal. They do not ask for your past. They ask for your name. Then they give you a new one, something clean, something obedient. You sleep in a room with too many bodies and not enough air. You learn the sound of hunger turning into gratitude. You learn the rule that matters most. Do not question kindness, earn it. At night you hear chanting through thin walls. Not loud, intimate, like someone whispering into your skull. The world is dying, they say. Only the chosen will be sealed. You touch your ribs and believe it. Your bones already feel like ruins. When morning comes, you stand in line. You bow your head when they bow. You smile when they smile. You do not want truth. You want shelter. Level 2. The Kitchen Hand. They put you where the knives live, not as a threat, as a test. You scrub pots until your fingertips wrinkle and split. The water is hot, then cold, then hot again. Your hands forget comfort. The kitchen stinks of boiled cabbage and bleach. The smell crawls into your hair, into your sleep. You carry sacks of rice that leave dust on your tongue. You swallow it like a prayer. You learn the first hierarchy. Those who eat first, those who eat last. Those who pretend they are not hungry. You are always last. You do not complain. Complaints are a disease here. A senior member watches you work. Their eyes never blink enough. They say you are lucky. Outside, the air is poisoned. The cities are sick. People will beg for a crust soon. You glance at the pantry shelves and feel your chest tighten. Food becomes prophecy. Every spoonful becomes a promise. When you make mistakes, they correct you softly. Too softly. Like they are training an animal that might bite. Level 3. The Cleaner. Soon you are trusted with filth that others will not touch. The latrines, the drains, the laundry tubs where sickness blooms. You carry sheets stained with sweat and blood and the sour leak of fear. The smell is honest. It does not flatter. It tells you what bodies truly are. Warm meat that spoils. They say the outside world is dirty, but you know dirt now. You taste it in your mouth when you breathe. You watch mold grow in corners like slow bruises. You scrape it away. You bleach it. You lie to yourself that clean is possible. The elders praise your humility. They make a ritual out of your work. Before you start, you kneel. You ask to be emptied. You are told your disgust is selfish. Disgust means you still think you are above anything. Above waste, above death, above the end. You learn to swallow your nausea. You learn to smile while you scrub. You learn that shame can be used as a leash. And you learn how tight it can pull without snapping you. Level 4. The Listener. They move you from floors to faces. Your new job is simple. Sit with newcomers. Hear their stories. Nod. Reflect their pain back to them like a mirror. You do not heal them. You harvest them. You are given phrases to repeat. The world rejected you. The family of the sealed will not. You are safe here. Your past is forgiven if your future is obedient. You start to notice how the cult speaks in soft blades. Every kindness has an edge. Every hug has a direction. You learn how to ask questions that sound like care but feel like a trap. Who do you miss? Who would look for you? Who do you owe money to? Who knows your secrets? They call it protection. They call it preparation. You call it work. At night you report what you heard. Names, weaknesses, addictions, old crimes, old loves. You watch the elders write it down with steady hands. Your stomach turns once. Then it stops. You tell yourself you are helping. If the end is coming, information is survival, and survival tastes better than guilt. Level 5. The Recruiter. Now you leave the gates, not alone, never alone. You wear clean clothes. You carry pamphlets that smell like fresh ink and false certainty. You stand near bus stations and shelters and hospitals, places where despair sits in rows. You know who to look for: the hollow-eyed, the recently broken, the ones who flinch at their own thoughts. You speak to them like you used to wish someone spoke to you. Warm, calm, certain. You learn the art of controlled mercy. You offer food, but only after a conversation. You offer a bed, but only after a confession. You offer belonging, but only after they cut their old ties. At first you feel guilty when you see a mother hesitate, when you see a teenager glance back at the street like a wounded animal. Then you remember your own hunger, your own relief. You tell yourself you are saving them from the coming fire. Each successful recruit earns you praise. Praise becomes a drug. Your voice grows smoother. Your eyes learn how to hold a stare without blinking. You start to believe your own lines. The end is not just near, it is useful. Level 6. The Watcher. They promote you into silence. You are assigned to observe. Hallways, dorm rooms, work sites, prayer circles. You sit at the edge of gatherings like a shadow with ears. People learn to fear your stillness. You carry a small notebook. No one knows what you write. That is the point. You record who whispers, who skips rituals, who hides food, who looks sad in a way that could turn into doubt. Doubt is the only real enemy. You are told the leader can feel disloyalty through the walls, but the leader still needs you. So you become their second set of nerves, their roaming paranoia. You start to see how easily humans police themselves. One glance from you and backs straighten, hands stop shaking, smiles appear. You realize the cult does not need chains, it needs witnesses. The worst part is how quickly you stop seeing people as people. They become patterns, risks, problems, assets. Your heart turns practical. Your compassion narrows into a thin beam, used only when it benefits the mission. At night, you dream in lists. Names, infractions, punishments. Level 7. The Confessor. Now you sit in a small room that smells like incense and sweat. They send members to you when they are cracking, when their mind becomes noisy, when guilt grows teeth. You offer them a chair, water, soft words. Then you ask them to open themselves. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you wanted. Tell me what you thought about when you should have been praying. Confession feels holy until you learn its true purpose. It is not cleansing, it is inventory. You learn which husband resents his wife, which daughter hates her mother, which worker dreams of running. You are taught how to guide a confession toward surrender. They cry. You nod. You tell them their shame is proof the cult is working on them. You tell them to fast, to isolate, to report themselves. Sometimes you recommend a punishment that sounds gentle. Extra labor, night vigils, public apologies. The group watches, the group learns. You feel powerful in a quiet way. You can crush a rebellion with a sentence spoken softly. You can ruin a relationship with a suggestion, and you can do it while smiling like a healer. Your soul begins to smell like the room, sweet, stale, burning at the edges. Level 8. The Steward. You are handed keys, not to freedom, to storage, to medicine cabinets, to the room where donations are counted. Money becomes another kind of scripture. You track it, protect it, move it in ways outsiders would not understand. You learn the cult is not just faith, it is logistics, fuel, vehicles, generators, hidden supplies, quiet deals with loud men. You meet people from the outside world who pretend they are not afraid of the end. They are always afraid. They just call it market risk. You begin to see the leader as a machine built from belief. The machine needs parts. You are now a part. Members come to you for favors, extra blankets, better work assignments, a private talk with an elder. You can grant these things or deny them. You do not need to raise your voice. Your power is administrative, cold, efficient. You tell yourself it is necessary. The end will require order. The unsealed will panic. The sealed must be ready. But when you lock the storage room at night, you feel something new. Not fear. Ownership. And ownership is the first step toward cruelty that feels like common sense. Level 9. The Enforcer. The gloves come off, even if your hands stay clean. You are assigned to discipline. You do not call it punishment, you call it correction. When someone tries to leave, you meet them before the gate. You speak softly. You remind them of what they confessed. You remind them who they were before the cult found them. You remind them what the world will do to them if they go back. Sometimes you bring them to a room without windows. Sometimes you keep them awake with prayers. Sometimes you isolate them until their thoughts turn to mush and they beg for structure. You tell yourself you are protecting the community. A single doubt can spread like rot. You know rot. You cleaned it. Now you prevent it. Your own mind starts to harden. You stop asking if someone deserves mercy. You only ask what effect mercy would have. You become a mathematician of pain, and you begin to fear the leader in a new way, not as a prophet, as a person who can point at you and say you are contaminated. You work harder, you enforce faster, you keep your face calm. Inside you feel the cage being built around you. Level 10, the voice of the end. You are invited into the inner circle. The room is quiet, the air feels expensive. Candles, clean fabrics, books no one is allowed to touch. The leader sits like a statue that learned to breathe. They tell you the truth in a tone that sounds like mercy. The end date can change. The signs can be adjusted. The fear must be fed at the right pace. Too fast and people run. Too slow and they get bored. You are chosen because you understand this. Now you speak from the stage. You deliver warnings. You interpret dreams. You explain disasters in the outside world as proof. You do not need facts. You need rhythm. You need certainty. The crowd looks at you like you are a doorway. Their eyes shine with relief and terror. You feel it enter you. Their need, their surrender. It is intoxicating. But power brings a different hunger. You begin to suspect everyone, even the elders, even the leader. You wonder who is watching you when you sleep. You listen for whispers behind doors. You keep secrets inside secrets. You become the sermon and the surveillance. And you start to forget where you end and the cult begins. Level 11. The Leader. One day the throne is empty. Maybe the old leader dies. Maybe they disappear. Maybe they are removed quietly. No one says. Silence is the cult's favorite weapon. They turn to you because you are already shaped like authority. You step into the role and feel the room tilt. Every face waits for your breath. You announce a new revelation, a new countdown. The end is closer now. The sealed must separate fully. You tighten rules. You limit contact with outsiders. You demand larger sacrifices. You call it purification. At first, you believe you are guiding them. Then you realize you are managing a storm you created. If you admit doubt, everything collapses. If you slow down, the fear cools. If you speed up, it can burn you too. You sleep less. You eat little. You listen to the compound at night, like it is a beast deciding whether to devour you. Paranoia becomes your only honest advisor. You order crackdowns. You accuse traitors. You stage confessions. Each act buys you another day of control, Another day closer to a promised end you cannot deliver. When the final night comes, it is not the apocalypse. It is a locked gate, sirens, flashlights, the outside world arriving like morning. You stand alone in the center of your own prophecy, surrounded by followers who look at you the way starving people look at an empty bowl. And you understand the last rank in a doomsday cult. You are not the savior, you are the sacrifice.